always stream where the yokels grow, and I am so excited for today's video because we are going to begin planting in the new garden. We're going to start with planting up all these large tomatoes down these 2 cattle panels. So if you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, I am so glad to see you again. So I guess I should tell you what I have here. I have a mix. I have Beefmasters here, I have Cherokee Purples, and I have Black Crims. These are just basil plants right here. This row right here is called Golden Jubilee. These are Black Crims. These are Cherokee Purples. The front small ones are all my first round of Roma tomatoes, and then in the back are called Amish Golds, which are also a paste. And then these 2 in the middle are called pink or Chef's Choice Pink Tomato. We'll see if they're pink, but you know, we're gonna get all these planted, or at least so I hope. So here we go. Okay, so let's get into today's video. We're gonna have to take a little sidestep before we start planting, and we're gonna talk about soil. Soil is probably one of the most important things in your garden, and it's what's going to feed your plants and continue to give them healthy roots so that they can provide food for you. We made some discoveries when we started planting. This soil behind me is beautiful. It's what you look for when you want to plant in something. But about mid-range, down this cattle panel, we discovered that the soil is full of clay. And that's okay. For those of you who've never worked with clay, we're gonna go over here and I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. And hopefully it will help you walk through, if you live in Texas, how to amend your soil if you have a lot of clay in it. Let me get the camera off the tripod and let's get talking about it. Okay, here I have Earth Grows Organic Hummus and Manure, and then I have a bag of this Miracle Grows Organic potting mix with yucca and core. So what I'm going to do is not right here, but when I get down to where that is, we'll dig the holes out. And I'll walk you through as we go through the video. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the hole a little bigger than it should be. Not put the clay, you know, what we dug out back in there, but instead we will mix the potting mix and the organic hummus together, and that is what we're going to fill around the plant, and then we're going to top dress around it as well. And what that's going to do is it's going to give those plants in that area kind of a fighting chance for the roots to be able to spread out, because clay is difficult to grow in. But almost all of Texas dirt has clay in it. Clay can be a little difficult to grow in, but this is what Texas is known for, either clay or sand. So it's just a matter of, over the years in that section, we're just gonna have to be very mindful of putting a lot of compost, a lot of leaves, a lot of grass clippings, and what's going to happen is it's going to build soil, and hopefully in time to a point where we're not having to worry about the clay, and it's really kind of amended into the, you know, the soil that's breaking down. And that's just how you have to do clay. I know for some that can be daunting, but I'm actually going to start over there, and so I can show you what I'm going to do, and and then we'll plant the rest of these tomatoes. So let's get planting. We're going to start with this plant right here, and I'm going to dig the hole first, and then I'll come back and talk about it, and then I'll talk about the fertilizers that I'm using, and then show you, I'll put the plant in, and then I'll show you how I'm going to put the dirt around it. See that? That is Texas clay. So we are going to add blood meal into the hole. Just a little bit. You don't need a lot. So I'm going to put in a small scoop, this scoop right here, of this Mikos. This is a root stimulator, but what it is a beneficial soil fungi that helps to stimulate all the roots to grow. So this is a pink, it is a Chef's Choice pink tomato. I don't know if it's going to be pink, but it is an indeterminate. So we are going to pull off. Set that in. Okay, here's our mixture. So there we go, we got that first one planted. I am going to move the camera back and try and get all these planted today. I don't know if I'm going to get them all tied up today. Not entirely sure why there's an echo in an open field, but there is, so I apologize for that if the audio is picking it up. But I'm going to try and get all these, well, as many of them planted as I can. You can see how hard that clay was, and it appears that most of the clay is just right here and then right down the center here of the garden. So, well, we'll see. So here we go. Let's get it done. Okay, so I wanted to stop and show you the descent of the clay coming into more dirt so you can see it for yourself. So if you ever run into it, you know exactly what it looks like. Okay, back. This is the one I just planted right here. And I want to show you the soil as I get up close. You see how it's got a nice mixture of clay and soil? And then as we move, all the ones I planted, you can see more clay, and then all clay. So as we're moving down the line, we're getting rid of the clay. So I suspect it is just this middle row and then all the way across of the garden. So we're gonna get the rest of these planted. You can see it's a couple of days later. I was able to get all of the tomatoes planted in that first run before the rain, and then it rained for a couple of days. Yesterday I came out and I didn't film it though. I put in the basil and the marigolds in between, and then today I've gotten all the drip irrigation. And we made a decision on the rest of the plants that we are going to go get one of those augers, the post hole digger augers, because the clay is really hard and compacted in certain areas, or this soil is. So that way we can get a deep enough hole to put enough compost in there. My fear is if I don't give it enough space, the roots are just gonna swirl around each other and get root bound, because clay is hard to get through. But like I said earlier on in the video, it is just gonna take some time, and this is Texas soil. So as time goes on and fall comes in, we'll be putting some amendments on the soil to kind of help it break down, and we may even put a cover crop on it this year to kind of feed the soil a little bit. Definitely gonna get a whole trailer full of compost because doing it by the bags is just not cost effective. So next week we're gonna go get a trailer full of compost. But let me get the camera off this tripod and then take you over here and show you everything that I've already done. Okay, so you can see we've got a drip hose on here, and it's going to run every morning because it's already up to 90 degrees here in Texas by the afternoons. So early in the morning it'll run for 30 minutes, and because the soil is so dry, it's going to be an everyday thing, except for the days, of course, that it rains. We won't have the drip system because we don't want to overwater these tomatoes either. So let me walk down the run. One of the things that we discovered, and I'll show you that here in a minute, on some of our bigger tomatoes, we do have spider mites, so we are going to talk about making the decision to go ahead and put those in the trash, I think, and just start over because we have plenty of time to restart our cherry tomatoes and some of our San Marzanos, and because we have a long growing season. So but here it all is. Here's the marigolds. Those, I grew those from seed as well. And then I think I passed the first basil. Sorry about that. And then we have a basil right here. And then I just went through and planted marigolds and basil all the way around. I do have a couple of plants that are struggling, and I'll show those to you in a minute. But one of the things I'm thinking about doing to help with pest control is go ahead, I know I won't get a harvest from it, but going ahead and getting some garlic in the ground around these tomatoes. Just circle around the tomatoes, and that should help with some of the pests. Here are the two plants, even though they're getting plenty of water, this marigold and this San Marzano. So, you know, they were just planted, the marigold was just planted yesterday, but the San Marzano was planted a few days ago. So we'll just have to, you know, see what's going to happen. And I got another one right here that's struggling a little bit. Now this is the first time they've had this much water. I've just been hand watering them. This soil dried out really fast after the rain. You know, the rain was just, it wasn't like a hard rain, it was just like a steady rain. So yesterday I didn't water them at all, so they were hand watered when I first planted them, and when I got out here this morning these plants were really struggling. So they're almost done. They're on a timer, so we're only doing this today at this time. Tomorrow it'll come on at 6:30 in the morning and get it, you know, the sun's coming out at that time here, and that'll get it watered in for the day. And then let me show you, as I said, what I still have left. So you've seen me, this is our row. I'm trying not to walk in our garden over here, but here is the rest of those tomatoes. And then on the outside I have, now you see how big those pots are. Trying to dig a big enough hole with just a little shovel is not, even that spade shovel is just, I'm struggling with it. Let me show you so you can see we got one row, two rows, and this will be a third row, and then we will have a fourth row, and then the rest of this we're going to have corn and beans, potatoes, carrots. Trying to think of everything that's going in here, and I am going to do a row of dahlias and a row of zinnias because I want to have some cut flowers. But you can see here's the other row. Now these are all either black cherries or chocolate pear tomatoes, all of them. So as you can see, we are not hurting. Plus I have more up at the greenhouse. I'm trying not to move too fast. So you can see I have this whole row still to plant, and that's why we're going to get that post hole digger. But we are not putting this one in, we are not putting that one in, and we are not putting that one in, or the one that's laying down on the ground. Those are all going to be trashed. It's the only way to get rid of them. So if you found some value in today's video, please give us a like and a thumbs up. I hope that you were able to learn a few things. For those of you who have some clay, you can grow in clay. It just takes time to rebuild that soil and break it down. you know, it's going to take me a couple of years to get the soil where I want it. So if you'd like to follow the journey of this garden, please consider subscribing so you can get notifications when I post new videos, because most of my videos from this point on are going to be planting new seeds. We're going to be planting a fall garden. We're going to be talking about amending the soil. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. But if you are returning, as always, and if you are new, thank you for giving me some of your time during the day. I truly appreciate you being here and for supporting this channel. Until I see you in the next video, you all take care of yourselves. You keep your heads up, and more importantly, no matter how you do it, you